Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic. Had one or two people at the end of the last cast saying, yeah, you know, King and Prince of Map Tourney 1v1, that's all well and good, but we like team games, Guile. Well, here I am to deliver a team game with a difference. It's going to be a long one, as usual. Not hugely long, one of the longest, I'd say, intermediate length for epicosity standards, and it might even descend into a little bit of Artillerfest later on. Without giving away too many spoilers, let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Adaptive Hilly Plateau, ka-ching, ka-ching. Look at that, instant loading, that's what we like to see. We'll call this Team 1 up here at the top, and this Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 in Breast Cancer Awareness Pink, it's Valone. He's going Cyber and Blessing, opening first land. Team member number 2, Rearguard Air Position. It's, I don't know whether he was trying to spell Francais, but it looks like Francius. And here he is. This is where my dyslexia comes into play, and some French dude turns up and says, actually, that is how you spell Francais. Is it not C-A-I-S? I don't know. Here he is. It's Francius for today. And he's going Seraphim Pontiff White, first land. And then finally on the back row, last but not least the back row for Team 1, it's Toddy going Cyanide Scion, going Seraphim, opening first land. Team member number 4 on the front row this time, we have Azrock, our first Aeon of today. He's going Burgundy Red, interesting decision, opening first land. After him, we've got Eric, another Seraphim here for Team 1, and Vivacious Violet going first land. And last but not least, our second Aeon for Team 1, it's Citrus 984 going Mellow Yellow, opening first land and going land all day, it would seem. Let's check out Team 2 down here at the bottom. Almost started Rearguard Air Position, but let's keep it in line with the first one. Reaper RSX going Lime Green, going Cybrin, opening first land. Achieve Jaguar picking up air position for Team 2. He's going Electric Blue Seraphim, opening first land, going second air. Halle Borange Orange next up. It's Jonis or Jonis 227. Another Seraphim, very popular today, opening first land, going second air. Onto the front row, already leaving their natural habitat, going Seraphim again. It's Bababooey, and he opened first land in Ferrari Red. Next up to the middle, it was Stormcleaver 5, or Stormcleavers, if that's supposed to be an S, who knows. Going Elephantine Grey, going Aeon, opening first land. And last but not least, my good friend and fellow caster on his way to the middle, Brinko Insanity, going Aeon for today's game. And he opened first land in Baby Blue. So there we have it. Game quality at 89%, just shy of what we think is a balanced game. We've got 1, 2, 3 Seraphim, 2 Aeon and a Cybrin for Team 1. 1, 2, 3 Seraphim, 3 Aeon and a Cybrin. That'd be 7 players, wouldn't it? 2 Seraphim, 3 Aeon and a Cybrin, I hope. No, 3 Seraphim, 2 Aeon and a Cybrin for Team 2. We got there in the end, however ungainly and awful that could possibly be. I should probably start the cast again, but you know what? I'm not going to, because that is the magic of live, that's TV, I flatter myself, live internet broadcasting, as the confluence of ACUs ensues in the middle, and everyone starts a combination of reclaiming and blapping away at one another. Possible to sell who's getting the better run of the mass. So far, Bababooey absorbing the most damage, Eric taking the second most. Bababooey having scooped most of his mass, taking a chance to pick off some hit points from Citrus 984 up here while he relocates. Brinko Insanity, meanwhile, squaring off against Azrock. Let's take a quick look at total reclaim figures. Well, mass figures very close indeed, 20 to 21. Looks like Team 2's just slightly ahead, has scooped just a little bit more mass, but there's not a huge amount in it. Team 1 kept up reasonably nicely. Eric backing away behind the corner of that little mini plateau in the center there as he dips into the yellow. Bababooey also in the yellow down here, down to around 65% base HP. Brinko Insanity trailing backwards with Azrock in tow, blapping away at his behind, but he turns to counterfire, and a little Aurora added into the mix as well for Azrock, a bit of extra damage. Brinko Insanity drops into the yellow on about 8,000 HP. Once again, ACU troubles kickoff over here just left of center, and Citrus absorbing some Zui fire down here from Baba Booey. Finally recognizes the threat and backs away before he absorbs another free round of light artillery damage, which could otherwise well be avoided. Off he goes on his Todd, 6,000 hit points there. Eric over here, meanwhile, how's he been getting on? 8,400, not so bad. T2 upgrade on the way there for Baba Booey. Going to get that sorted. That'll repair a little bit of damage on his comm and give him some defensive utility in the center. Pretty good idea as far as I'm concerned. Francius advancing forward with his comm down towards the bottom right. He's going to bump into Reaper RSX pretty soon. 5 minutes gone so far. 37k apiece total mass crew between the teams. They both ticked over onto 37k at almost exactly the same time. It is neck and neck in the old Eco Wars, and so far, although we're only 5 minutes in, no early exits as yet, but that could all change, of course, because we know this game well by now. Anything can happen. T2 upgrade on the way there for Brinko Insanity. Everyone looking to lock down as much central territory in the middle of the map as possible in the early game, get control of the midpoint, and of course a couple of extra mass extractors here and there, 2 in the middle, a couple potentially on the plateau, flanking it on either side. Toddy and Francais now present over in the bottom right corner. Eric and Jonis squaring off up here at the top left. Baba Booey sent a little bit of T1 spam up there to assist him. That's looking pretty secure now. This looks like it might be a decent front line being drawn here with no man's land in the center. T2 upgrade on the way for Balone. Hasn't really joined in with much of the game so far. Let his teammates go forward. He was a back row contender, of course. We should take a quick look at team composition as well while we have the opportunity. So very different spread here. We've already said it's not exactly a balanced game at 89%, but not too far off. But there's a very sharp discrepancy in the talent numbers there across the board. So Team 1 is a little bit more evenly spread. We've got 3 pros and 3 Joes, 1,500, 1,700, 1,700, and then 11, 13, and 12. Whereas at Chief Jaguar, we've got 5 Joes and 1 pro with the Chief Jaguar. But the other Joes are literally a gnat's sneeze away from Pro Hood at 1,400. So we've got 3 1,400s there for Team 2. All right, let's get back to the game. We've got a gun upgrade on the way for Citrus, who's getting some assistance there from some engineers. And actually, just unfortunately for Baba Booey, in range of that T2 PD that he was trying to get online. Sets his second one up further back and out of range. But that's unfortunate for him. Resources he would have preferred not to lose. Citrus completes the gun upgrade, and that's his second one. So he's got double Snipercom gun upgrades here on this Aeon Commander, and he's going to take advantage of that and roll on forward. That PD will complete and open up. Not overcharging as yet, so he's just sticking with the main gun and beating it down with that. Forget the overcharge, that has a smaller range than the upgraded gun. Pretty sure it does. In come the Zuis and the Thams there for Baba Booey. And Citrus is going to back up. Needs to be a little bit careful here. He's got that double gun upgrade, but he's down to around 5,000 HP. Gets a rank in vet there. Helps him out a little bit, but all of these Zuis incoming from Baba Booey. It's a mouthful right there. Forcing Citrus back off his position. Down goes his forward radar. And all the intel along with it. Gun upgrade on the way there for Toddy down in the bottom right. Reaper RSX has Tech 2. And he's getting to work on some T2 PDs, trying to lock that area down. Gun upgrade on the way for Azrock. Lots of very aggressive upgrading going on from Team 1. Guns across the board. Team 2 going for the more defensive approach. Brinko Insanity with an early TAC missile launcher up and running. 4 assisted P-gens to get that build speed up. Very nice indeed. I wonder what his first target's going to be. He has one loaded and away it goes. Looks like it's heading off to the right. Is he going after resource options for the frontline staff of Team 1. It's heading pretty deep. Can he reach the main base? It certainly looks like it, but there is TMD right there, so a couple of shots from that means that TAC missile launcher won't be breaking through to anything sensitive over there. Toddy's completed his gun upgrade, but still sitting on the spot. In comes a large horde of Mantis here from Reaper RSX and forcing Toddy into action. And in fact, Reaper has got a bit of a point defense creep going on here. 3 active T2 PDs in range of Toddy's comm. Toddy ill-advisedly hanging around in the area in the firing arc of those Cerberus turrets. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? Does he still realize he's taking damage? Of course there will be a large announcer screaming at him. I wouldn't personally be heading in that direction if it were me. He's about to dip into the red. Toddy, what are you doing? Caesar 1300. He should recognize the danger where it's ever present, and we're going to get an ejection here at a little over 10 minutes. Toddy with a terrible error, opening up the loss for the game, and for Team 1 putting the advantage with Team 2. Is full share on. How many fairies are going to have to die today? Well, I'm happy to say none, as all of his base goes to kaput. And Eric, wasting no time, gets his engineers into action to cannibalize that base and profiteer from the demise of his teammate. I have to say, that was a horrible error. I can only imagine he was on the phone or something, or being distracted by his wife or girlfriend. But yeah, didn't work out too well on that one. Definitely looked like a distracted player. But now Reaper taking fire from the sky from Francius. Why are you backing out? I don't understand it. There is an ASF here, but literally 1 or 2 more bombs, and that is a second mistake from Team 1. Reaper should have been down and out there. Kind of been paying attention to the health meter on his target. Reaper very lucky to survive that. And he knows it, dropping back slightly. Needs to get more anti-aircraft firepower online. Gets Magno operational. Nice to see someone actually sticking up for me in the comments section of that last video, saying that they always called it a Mangu as well. It just sounds better. I think we should reappropriate the name. And look at this early strap bomber out from a Chief Jaguar, going straight after vulnerable T2 mexes with his own personal ASF escort, clearing the way. Quick pot shot at the most vulnerable visible T2 mechs out front there for Eric. Realizes, you know what, they're not that well defended. I can get more currency out of this. Goes in for a strike on the main base there against Azrock, taking some fire from a couple of those Notha fighter bombers. But again, the only ASFs on the field belonging to a Chief Jaguar, running fighter cover for this bomber that's still looking pretty healthy, just in the yellow. Next bomb lands on that shield in the corner belonging to Eric. No damage there, but 11 kills so far. He has got a trail of interceptors in tow. We'll want to re-engage with those, I'm sure. Actually, he lets them go. Fighters sticking very close to that bomber. Where's he heading now? Another bomb away. Going for Azrock's comm. That connects. Takes off about 20% of its HP. Brinko Insanity, meanwhile, holding the position with one solitary Oblivion turret. That's not going to last too long. And that strap bomber probably not going to survive another pass wherever it goes. Heading back to base with just 460 odd hit points. Chief Jaguar does have another one over there, but that's a nice little bombing run. Wondering if he's going to scuttle that and scoop the mass. Probably worth doing. So he lands it in safe territory. Little entanglement over here. Reaper looking like he was trying to get a run-by into the back of the eastern edge of Team 1's base. Doesn't end up happening. Indeed. Just as I thought. Strap bomber recycled. Mass scooped. Achieved Jaguar leading the field in a big way, incidentally, as we said at the beginning, on global ranking 2200. Some 500 ranking points clear of Francis and Eric. Highest rated players on Team 1. So expect big things from him. No pressure, sir. Now, well and truly, front lines drawn up at the top left. Valone taking some damage over the hillock here. These Zuis covered nicely by this rock formation, just lobbing dangerous and irritating shells over the edge and causing problems for Valone, but he reps up the shield coverage. And down here, trading fire between the bases, we've got one static T2 emplacement, artillery emplacement, versus mobile missile launchers, essentially these Vipers from Valone. Shield about to capitulate on the edge here. Jonis building as many TMDs as he can. Probably wants to line some more up over here, but loses the shield gen. Vipers paying off dividends here for Valone in that little base standoff. That's the only place on the field right now we've got any real direct conflict. You can see the battle lines. That's how they're drawn. So really is presence of about 3 players from Team 2. We've got Stormcleaver, we've got Baba Booey, and we've got Jonis or Jonas. All causing problems predominantly for Valone. We do have some engineers up here for Eric. And of course, Citrus coming in on the flank with a pretty heavy-duty blob of spam, T1 spam there, assisted with some T2 shield coverage, and of course Citrus's comm. Need to have some decent punching power. But this whole right flank of this base for Jonas is in trouble here. These Vipers getting all kinds of work done. Might struggle coming more directly against these TMDs to break through, but Jonas, if he's going to stay here, needs to commit a little bit more heavily to base construction. Drop some NGs off over this way. Or has he dropped some T1 and T2 units? We've got some Ilshivers in here. Get the Ilshivers up close to the Vipers. They can pick some of those off. Of course, we've got point defense coverage in Valone's shielded position up here. Got a camera work fail there as a transport merges with our face. Apologies for that. It's always disconcerting. Engineers ill-advisedly walking into a wall of Reaper's Mantis. Generally doesn't end too well. Clearly an example of the Momo challenge going around in Team 1's base. Who says Guile Cask isn't topical? No one. No one's talking about Guile Cask, period. Jonas finally getting to work on some more shield coverage, although not in the position I would expect. He's gone left instead of right. Ilshiver's sort of dipping back and forth in and out of range. He looks like he might be about to lose another land factory. Definitely needs to do something. Things not going too well up there for Team 2. Long-range TAC missile. Where did it come from? I doubt now. Probably have been looking right at it. That's what usually happens. I get told all about it in the comment section earlier by one of the guy lights. How we're terming them today. It's actually amazing Valone hasn't managed yet to dislodge Jonas, but he's not pressing him particularly hard. The Vipers have been skirmishing back and forth, but he hasn't been reinforcing particularly heavily. And if you take a quick look at the mass leaders, Valone down on 65. He's almost short stacking. 64 there for Citrus. And then we've got other players on the field well up over 100. Eric, of course, has only got 200, but he's sitting on 2 base after the demise of his teammates. And Jonas is on 82, so not a great deal more mass available to him. That's why this little base war hasn't progressed particularly quickly. Jonas backing off slightly for his next bit of shield coverage. Wants to keep that artillery installation shielded at all costs. And I don't exactly know what happened, but I think something very bad happened to Azrok's forces. He had a whole army sat there, and I don't know, someone slipped and accidentally self-destructed them, or it just went very badly in engagement with more advanced units over here for Reaper, which is the more likely result. Rhinos tearing through that mechs, picking off another T2 and another one to go here as well. That's going to drop him down below 90 mass per tick. Or not. He could still be over 100. As other factors come into play. And now it's Eric's turn to be subjected to a little bit of mass denial. Still sitting pretty comfortably on 230. Let's take a look at totals though. 445 for Team 2 and 419 for Team 1. So that loss of a teammate there starting to have an impact. Sniper bots now hitting back at Valone from Stormcleaver, and that has killed off. Either he's moved all the Vipers or they've all been destroyed. I can't see them anywhere else, so I'm going to go with destroyed, and a couple of Sustenance turn up as well for Jonas. So having seen the Viper get work done up here for Valone, that is the end of an era, and it is now Valone who's had to back away and back off. That forward position will have to be recreated somewhere else. Valone back here now with his comm. He is sending trebuchets up to the front line, but he's going to need some more resources than that. Some more reinforcements. Baba Booey getting a nano upgrade and the advanced nano repair as well, going straight for the second upgrade of that mod. Gives him gun T2 and will be advanced nano. Be a scary, chunky looking beast. But look at this. Experimental on the way for a Chief Jaguar. Likely to complete before we get to 25 minutes, but we've already got an experimental heading out of the backfield from Team 1. That's Francius in the back there, working on an Ithota of his own and chucking it into the fray. That's heading forward. And sometimes, of course, they're the experimentals that cause some of the most damage, the ones that turn up first when your opponents aren't expecting them. See if we've got a waypoint. Well, the only waypoint there is to that position. Not sure yet which tack he's going to take. A couple of cheeky siege tanks up in the top corner. Taking some trebuchet fire. Oh, 98 hit points on that trailing siege tank for Jonas. And some sniper bots up front as well for Stormcleaver in the middle. Now, causing problems for Azrock. Poor little Ilshiva just wanted to hang a Louis. Kept running into his teammate's experimental's foot. Have some T3 units here, but they're only loyalists, so he should carve his way through those pretty easily. Indeed he does. Looks like Reaper is going to feel the full force of his wrath. And look at that. Concerned that that was not going to get used, he control K'd his SMD that he'd been working on, his nuke defense, and is now scooping the mass, hopefully rebuilding it somewhere else. A Chief Jaguar going after the Ithota, but a nuke is out, and it's out from Eric. They will have spied that. That's what the nuke defense was about. Well, there's no nuke defense here now. Where is that nuke going? It's heading straight over towards the main bases. Francius being cagey with his experimental, not just sending it straight in. Wise move considering Chief Jaguar has one of his own heading that way. But the nuke made it right into the backfield. The Chief Jaguar's evac'd his comm, but his base is going to get annihilated. Oh man, that is huge for Team 1. Team 1, who's some 70k mass behind at this point, have just wiped out the base of their biggest threat, the highest rated player on Team 2, Chief Jaguar. Now a decapitated comm with 2 T3 mexes and very little else. He's got an experimental and a pretty sizable horde of ASFs, but otherwise no eco to speak of. That's going to be a long ways back from the wilderness, economically speaking, for Team 2's star player. Chief Jaguar rolling in to engage Francius and his experimental up here, but there's a lot of defenses from Francius, who's airdropped a buttload of T3 engineers into the middle and has thrown, well, it looks about 8-10 T2 PDs. We've got T3 SAMs in there. Had some shield coverage, didn't last long. It's depleted but not destroyed. But I love that. He didn't manage to save the experimental, unfortunately for him, but quick airdrop. Look at that utility, giving him a point to fall back to. That is good imaginative play from Francius. Always nice to see. Azrock going for T3 on his commander. Now getting some ranged capabilities of his own. We've got static T2 in placement. We have a sniper bot now. Both teams just looking for a weakness at this point. Chief Jaguar down to just 57 mass per tick. Sapping power from his teammates, trying to survive. No doubt trying to get his power grid online. More concerned about the mass for the time being. Obviously enough power being supplied by his teammates. I'm seeing if any of them have gifted him any P-gens, but it doesn't look like it. He's just feeding on the excess. Nice little siege tank run by from Jonas. Not really a run by, he's punched his way through what used to be the old base here over time and is now working on a smaller little security outpost, if you will, over here. Nothing here any match for the siege tanks. In come the Corsairs, though, from Valone, leaving just one siege tank. Oh, excuse me, a second one rolling in. Finally takes out the last PD, and that is the end of that little position. But unless Chief Jaguar can get in here with his ASFs to defend, that's the end of those two siege tanks. Doesn't look like that's a particularly high priority right now. I love what's going on down here, though. Eric taking advantage of the confusion with his strats and going after some vulnerable mexes from Reaper. There goes a T3 in the bottom right corner. Definitely a missed opportunity here. I'm not sure why the Chief Jaguar hasn't leapt on this. His attention was elsewhere. He does finally dispatch two ASFs to lock on to the strats. Doesn't want to commit his whole force, but goodness me, how many lives would have been saved if he hadn't gone to assist just a smidge earlier. But give the guy some slack. He's got a lot on his plate. Trying to get his T3 Air HQ back up and running. That's just started that final upgrade. Experimental complete in the main base of Reaper. Simple Monkey Lord. Another large group of engineers being ferried in from Francius. And this is a real commitment to this area now. He has spent a lot of mass setting this up. And you know what? I like it. I really do. A fortification for those experimentals to run back to. This is good, aggressive, imaginative play. And that's set up another win on the ground. Look at all those T3 units in full retreat from that experimental. Reaper loses another base. He rebuilt that Guardian and is now reclaiming it once again for the second time. Doesn't want to engage head-on with the Monkey Lord by itself. It will lose. He wants to time it with Brink's horde of T3 Harbs over here. Eric picks off another Mex belonging to Reaper. Does lose the Strat Bomber, but it's all worth it. It's all whittling away at Team 2's economy. Chief Jaguar still held on to his ASFs, but they're probably comparable in number now to Francius. 59 there for Francius. Chief Jaguar, I know where I'm pronouncing that's going to be pissing someone off. 57, so it's almost neck and neck in terms of numbers. The Chief Jaguar loses those. It's going to be a while before he can pump them out again at any great rate. Be very much in Team 1's advantage to try and force a confrontation in the air game and deal with those. On come the Harbs and the Monkey Lord now from Brink and from Reaper. Francius backs up with his experimental. Probably wants to turn it round, get both of those weapons focused on the incoming. Point defenses are nearly down and out. Just one or two remain. Experimental heading for shield coverage. More Strat Bombers This time going after Brinko Insanity's com, but the shield coverage is holding well. Not enough strats to get that done. A Chief Jaguar had his air units up here, but they are returning to deal with those. Meanwhile, there's some more Ithota action happening over in the west. It's Eric versus Jonas. Jonas looks like he might get the scalp there. Indeed he does, thanks to the assistance of some of his point defenses as well. But the Monkey Lord did not survive, as did not the Harbingers. That is terrible English, but you know what I mean. And now there are 3 Team 1 experimentals encroaching on the right flank here of Team 2's territory. Another shield coverage down. Eric's getting some great work done around the field with the strats. In comes Francius to provide screen. He's expecting the engage. There it is. And there's the kill command from Francius to engage. No, why wouldn't you? Just go for it. He's being far too timid. An even trade right now would be worthwhile, but he decides not to. But well, at the very least, another mech's out of commission, and Reaper still held down on about 202. Where are we on eco terms? Well, Team 2 still ahead. Still ahead by a good 70k mass. But Team 1 have definitely closed the gap. It's not getting any bigger. Now this is interesting. They've got to be really careful. Major incursion from Team 1. Colossus backed up here by Citrus's T3 with T2 shielding. We've got 2 Ithotas down here. 1 Monkey Lord and a couple of bricks guarding this entrance over towards Reaper's base. That was the weirdest crash landing I've ever seen. Plane flew about 150 miles before it ditched. Ababui completes an experimental. It's another Ithota. So many Seraphim in this game. The Ithota taking center stage. And Francie is reluctant to just balls out steam in here. Doesn't want to throw these away. Could be missing an opportunity. Maybe not. I don't know. Brink is right there with his Colossus. Needs to be timed well. 2 GCs inbound from Citrus and from Azrock. Bababui turns up with his experimental. It's going to be a confluence of carnage right on the doorstep of Brink's base. Team 1 prioritized Brink's Colossus. In comes the Monkey Lord. Down goes Azrock. No, that was in the way. Azrock's still at 50%. Azrock is going to lose his experimental, but not before Brink loses his Colossus. Next to go should be Citrus's. We've still got these 2 Ithotas down here at the bottom belonging to Francius. Oh, that Monkey Lord's so nearly dead. 4,300 HP. Francius in full retreat. Wants to hang on to them if he can. And rocks blocking the kill shots on towards that Cyberin Monkey Lord. Another Ithota turns up. Meanwhile, what's going on up here? More pressure coming down, this time from Eric. But another one potentially making it into the backfield in the other direction for Jonas. And you see, this is the problem. Look at all of the mass that is being dumped on Team 2's doorstep right here. You already see Brink moving into scoop. That is so much mass. 3 dead experimentals there. Another one here. Another one there. This one's blatantly not going to make it out because he runs into his own Ion Storm. So much. And another one down here as well. So much mass. Life just got a little bit harder for Team 1. looking like they were in a commanding position. Wave of strats inbound from Eric, going after strategic missile defense, and they get it. Lose a lot of strats in the process, though. Expect to hear the old strategic launch warning going off. Sure, it was over here. There it is, powering up. Taking forever.
Strategic launch detected.
Where's it going? Going dead center. Now, there's an SMD right there, and it's dual loaded, so that was a waste of strat bombers and a nuke. Unfortunate decision on that one. So Jonas didn't continue the advance with his experimentals. They are instead loitering around what is now the front line. But look at the territorial control. We're literally operating just on this corner of the map now for Team 2. More transports down here for Francis, who looks determined to continue his expansion. I'm loving it. Loving the T3 drops. Reinforcing this position, giving a safety net to the experimentals who want to keep on pressuring the main base, but bit off just a little bit more than they could chew. Oh, now transports are going. Lovely idea in theory, just didn't work out. Chief Jaguar, what are we saying in terms of eco? So he's up to 179 mass per tick. How's his power situation? Could be worse, could be better. Aras completes on his comm. And that almost puts him in the lead, just behind Reaper, who's on 209. For his team, that is. And mass fab farms popping up at the back there for Reaper RSX. Keeping the mass flowing. Megalith under construction at his base. And an emissary on the way for Brink Owen Sanity. I'm sure I saw some under construction over here. Seraphim T3 static artillery wailing away now on Team 2's base. Nice little coup for Jonas there with his two experimentals. Takes out two Ithotas belonging to Team 1. But now, how important is the emergence of T3 artillery going to be first for Team 1? They managed to get theirs online pretty quickly, but the emissary is up and running as well for Brink. More shield coverage coming online to protect it as it trains that massive plasma cannon on its first target. Sneaky little attempt by Eric to grab some mass option in the bottom right hand corner. It doesn't last too long. It did have a T2 mechs on it though, so definitely would have paid for itself. Massive air battle broiling over in the west between Jaguar and Eric. Eric, no, don't hold your bombers there. Chief Jaguar, despite being massively outnumbered in the sky, is just neutered most of those strats. That was a horrible place to park them. The target was a Chief Jaguar's comm. Oh my word, he's nearly got him. 1200 hit points. One more bomb. Where are they? One more bomb or one more T3 artillery shell and he's out. That's their star player. They're in for another round. And one's all they need. The Chief Jaguar is down and out. That actually levels it in terms of player count. But whereas Team 1 loses a 1300, Toddy Team 2 lose their 2200 star rated player. That is not good for Team 2. Poor Chief Jaguar getting nuked and then spending the next 20 minutes of the game effectively trying to get back into it, only to get strat sniped. And now everyone getting in on the T3 action, T3 artillery action. Another one being built, this time in Baba Booey's base. Second emissary under construction in Brink's base. And actually Eric is lucky to have his still operational. He's lost a few structures around it, one of which being a power plant supplying it. He's trying to get some more shielding online. Seems to be struggling slightly for mass. Pretty solid shielding around Team 2's bases. Chief Jaguar really was the weak point after getting nuked. Everyone else pretty fairly well covered, but losing your top rated player and your air player, pretty devastating. They are going to have to really want this one if they're going to emerge with the victory. Look out! Depleted shield coverage over here. Down goes T3 reactor. Engineers hurriedly tried to get shield coverage on. One more shell. Oh man! Oh, that's so painful. It's like it was mine. Baba Booey will have to wait a little longer if he wants to join in on the Artillerfest. Just like Oktoberfest, only with less beer and more massive cannons. In this case, plenty of shielding. Brink looking pretty solid against aerial bombardment. When you get into these sorts of things, it's generally the team that has the head start on artillery production that will emerge victorious. See if that holds true today. Ithota in the middle for Eric, engaging, getting flanked though by this horde of Harbs from Stormcleaver, trying to get some shield coverage to it, and he does manage it. And a second Ithota coming to join the damaged first one, and now the hunters become the hunted. Oh, so many dead Harbingers. Dirty encounter there for Stormcleaver. Now, it really is brown trouser time for Team 2. All hell is raining down on them. Comms cowering beneath ever larger blooms of shield coverage. This is where you really don't want to be a cyber and having to upgrade your shields every time you build a new one. That emissary very nearly complete. Wisely, Brink switches up to get some more shield coverage around it before it completes though. Because, goodness me, the E is wide open. Oh, no! Oh, and then they blink on. Sniper bots under shield coverage in the middle. Open up on the Anathenas. Should probably focus on the Ithota. Ooh. Stormcleaver getting cleavered himself. There's so many shells coming top to bottom now. Lots of strats as well. You see, that's the problem as well. They can come in, break the shield, and then the artillery can clear up. Although there's a very comprehensive line of SAMs from Brink. Hard for strats to get in and even release their weapons. Looked like he was going after Brink's comm there, but you're going to need more than that, my friend, but that'll help. No damage overspill onto the cannon. Monkey Lords control Cade for extra mass. And look at this! Next phase expansion. Francius has decided Team 2 feel pretty locked in their base and concerned about countering the artillery spam, that he can take this opportunity to set up a new fire base down here. Would you look at the amount of engineers he's airlifted in. Gets the stealth gen online. Now shield coverage. A few PDs here and there. Some SAM coverage. Always wide open though to potential nuke attack. I haven't seen any nukes in any of the bases for Team 2. Doesn't look like they've gone in that direction. So probably a factor in his decision making there to expand that aggressively. But look out, Eric engaging. Rolling on through towards the front line. Brink is waiting with his Colossus. Of course, if he can get that Ethota in deep enough, his Ion Storm will do a good chunk of damage. Ideally, he doesn't want to stop. In fact, it looks like he's just trying to sneak in a missile here, going after the SMD. Shield about to collapse. There it goes. No point in trying to take down the Colossus. Just try and do as much damage as you can. If you take out Baba Booey, that'll really hurt, but that is a chunky looking comm. Remember, he's got the advanced nano repair, so it's going to be a tough one. A Monkey Lord inbound from Valone. Oh my goodness. And it's catching him quickly. Brink needs to move his Colossus in for help. No, he doesn't, because Jonas is coming in from behind. An overcharge will finish him off. Didn't even get a chance to connect. Very nicely handled. Meanwhile, Reaper doesn't like this new base in the slightest. Brings out Nithota. Brings out the Megalith as well. Interestingly, doesn't keep it around. Threat from the air still pretty great. Remember, they've lost their air player, so dealing with these strats is a problem. Reaper has got a little contingent of ASFs of his own. Here comes the nuke. Is anything else covering it? I'd be surprised if we haven't got an anti-nuke in range somewhere. Brink had one down here. I'm not sure if it's still operational or if it's been destroyed. Here comes the nuke. Baba Booey way over here with his commander, so that's not going to get killed off, but look out. Just about in range of this Guardian down here belonging to Reaper. And there's 4 anti-nuke missiles in that silo. So, still not getting any work done. I just think of all the strats that have been expended by Eric trying to pick off anti-nuke and then wasting a nuke. If he'd have actually just tried to assist the artillery and come in and depleted some of these shields, I'm wondering if this wouldn't already be a completely crippled Team 2 by now. It's that classic game of connect and then regen, shield depletion, and then shields popping back up in the nick of time to block the next shells. A few things more irritating than when you're on the firing end. So Emissary still intact for Brink, still firing away. But Eric, pretty well covered, seems to be the recipient of the counterfire. Tsar completed for Citrus. Giant flying lemon. Azrock with 2 of his emissaries under very heavy shield coverage. Look at this. You've got to love it. Massive TAC missile battery up and running. Loyalist testing the base's firepower with his life. But I really don't think we're going to get any significant progress in this direction. That megalith doesn't even have to get close. Can take all of this down standing around here. But I love the intent. I love the aggressiveness. Attack missile batteries not going after the experimental, instead trying to breach the shield, but we've got so much going on in terms of TMD over here, and that Tsar was sent in after Baba Booey but gets shot down. Looks like it's taken a nick out of his health, but of course 236 hit points a second regenning onto that bad boy. It's a massive mass dump right on his doorstep. Being distracted here. Megalith needs to target attacks, not the engineers behind the rock. He's lost a lot of unnecessary hit points already. My word. Concerned about air units moving in, perhaps. It is just another engineer drop from Francius. 50 minutes gone. Game moving in one direction, really has been since the elimination of a Chief Jaguar. Another experimental face-off. Balone versus Jonas. Jonas going after the bricks first of all, taking fire from the megalith in the background. Splits one of his experimentals, the dying one, away from the main pack. Lets the Ion Storm engage, hopefully engage the bricks. Nice little bit of maneuvering there. And then moves in to go after the crab. It's taking a battering from these two. And there it goes. Skillfully done. Jonas holding that side very nicely indeed, but strats might cause a problem. Or maybe not. It's going for something else altogether. A few of them getting caught out. The anti-aircraft firepower on those experimentals going after Baba Booey's comm, but once again, nothing happens. More strats lingering this time for Eric on that side of the map. Coordination's almost there. It's just a little bit off. They've been waiting on that side of the map, right on the edge, and could have come in on that tack, away from the experimentals. That would have worked nicely. Will this work, though? Baba Booey under shield coverage. Some of them parking. No, just, oh, so much no. So much. What's going on? What is going on? Misclicks happening all over the shop. Surprised he didn't go Cybran. Alone certainly did. And credit where credit's due, this base has been under sustained emissary fire and whatever, I can never pronounce the Seraphim one, but it must be about 4 or 5 T3 launchers now, and hopefully for T2 that doesn't complete. They will have to move it forward though. I don't think the range is going to work from there. But surely at some point we're going to get a breach. Once again, another Bit of forward movement from Reaper. Hitting out against this base. More engineers being brought in all the time. Megalith just needs to stand his ground and start blapping some of these PDs. Wasting so many hit points. Turning tail, presenting that giant spider bottom at those emplacements. Where are we at now? So it looks like we've lost potentially one of them. Definitely some catastrophic shield failure in the center for Azrock. So, you know what? If we're ready to call this one yet. That shield coverage is very strong indeed. There we go. That's where you need to park your giant long-range experimental. Excuse the dog barking in the background. Tried to get him into subcom, but he's not having it. And another nuke away now from Eric. What do they know? What have they taken out? It's coming over here. The last nuke that got shot down was taken out by the Guardian down here. Have they done the math? Do you think they can sneak that one in? That will be pretty devastating. If it does, Reaper's up here with his comm as well. He's getting a teleporter on that commander. Where is it? There, it's coming in. And it's going to land. Is it going to pick off the comm as well? Oh, it doesn't, but look at the damage. Sweeter than a Pixie's G-string. And that could be the impetus Team 1 needs to close this game out. That really hurts Jonas. Still putting out 143 mass. And he's not quite in the toilet for power, but Megalith for Balone, just tidying up some stray engineers which are advancing out of their safe haven. Look at this. Just look at it. Love it. Look at all of the artillery, static artillery emplacements as well. Brink says, I've had enough of this. He's advancing. Reaper says, good idea. I'll back you up, albeit from over here a little while later. You get the hard work done. Brink breaking through, taking a lot of fire from those T2 PDs. But there's so many HP on these experimentals, it takes such a long time to chew through it all. I want to stop this Ethota before it gets in here, so the Ion Storm is nullified. Don't think it's going to happen. Look how well it's standing up against it. Eric trying to counter from the sky with his strats. Most of those get shot down by Reaper's ASFs. Lost a few buildings here and there for Brink. Shielding struggling to keep up with the bombardment. But Brink is breached through that canyon and is now trying to get in around the back of this base here. Best bet would be park it to here, so none of these get the solution. You can start working on some of these without any counterfire. Get that Megalith down here and work your way in. so many harbs. Accompanied by asylums, we've got sniper bots in here. To do with some T3 mobile anti-air. And of course that one Colossus as well. That looks like a serious and catastrophic shield failure. Up went some mass fabs, up went some P-gens, down went an emissary, and obviously a couple of support commanders got it in the face as well, and that surely is the last straw as Brink's base just gets its guts torn out. Another attempt to breach the front door, this time by Citrus and his Harbingers. So many defenses. Reaper is trying to respond from the right. If only Francais had some units at this base, he could have used this time to engage. Alas, it wasn't to be. GC just needs to keep rolling now and inflict maximum casualties. So many artillery shells landing. Another emissary is down. Brink is now out of T3 artillery. Keep the GC moving, for goodness sake. He's going after the SMD. It wasn't even loaded, and he wasn't to know that. Jonas, control case, is calm in the face of overwhelming odds. GG's being thrown out. And that is surely going to be the end of the game. Right on the nose of an hour, pretty much. 58 minutes and 30 seconds. Jonas quits out. Eric starts a teleporter. What a valiant, valiant defense put up by Team 2 after losing a Chief Jaguar, losing their player. Boom, baby! There goes Brink. And then just being behind in the artillery race. All the while keeping the experimentals out of that bottom corner. Nothing now can contend with the pink horde from Valone coming down the western approach. Bricks have caught up with Baba Booey. Advanced nano repair working overtime. Teleporter 60% done for Reaper. Control Ks from Stormcleaver out, and from Reaper, surely it looked like. Just awesome. Baba Booey still making a run for it. So much carnage. Com incoming right next to Baba Booey from Team 1. Gravity well opening. Will he get there before he dies? Francais just control Ks because why not? Look how well that advanced nano holds up. In comes who? Eric. Control K. I'm not sure that's right. It keeps coming up with Control Ks. I'm not sure that the notify works properly anymore. I think it gets confused between various types of death. But there we have it. Francais disappeared, but essentially he was in there at the end. So that was a 5-player victory at the end of that. They lost Toddy at the beginning, but won out through a brutal, relentless artillery bombardment and continual pressure on the ground, confining Team 2 to their corner. Really enjoyed that. Hope you guys did too. There's always more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, guys, Patreon still alive and well. Thank you to those that donate. If you feel like donating, you can do so by following the directions in the description below this and every one of my videos. Thank you to everybody who's donated so far, and for any of you that decide to do so. Your support means the world. Until next time, guys, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.